Well, good afternoon. If it's Monday's afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern, it's time for Mondays with Michael live. Wherever you're seeing this, if you're following us on YouTube, give us a subscribe. If you see us on LinkedIn, give us a follow. Facebook, give us a like, give us a follow. Check us out on social media. We put out a lot of content we find really interesting, and our clients seem to be interested in also. So today is the fifth and the final module, the last one in the series that we're working through on the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. Today's module is all about results. So we're going to kind of bring the program together. We're going to talk about results, but we're also going to talk about what happens after the session. Because all this training stuff is great, Michael, but what happens, next month, next week, next year, once we've finished the program? So let's talk about Module 5 first, and then we'll get into what happens next. But before we get into Module 5, as we've done with each of the 4 modules, we want to come back and revisit Module 4, which was accountability. So as the group comes in, there's questions and answers. Are you practicing peer-to-peer accountability? How's it going? Spend about 15, 20 minutes talking about that. And then as always, we always revisit and review the group norms, because by now we're into like the second, maybe third month of this, because we do these every other week or so. And so we want to revisit those group norms. We want to add some things, maybe remove some things within the group norms. So once we've done all that, then we get into the meat of Module 5. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to take a look at Module 5. So focusing on results. So the big thing here, a couple of things that we really want to discuss, take a look at. First, we take a look at the survey results. But even within the survey results, the question becomes, are the team results more important than my individual results or my department's results? And when I've done this with senior teams, I find that there's a kind of a little rub between the results of the senior team and the results of the individual's team that I represent. So we have to have this conversation about what are the results we're really looking for when it comes to the team, because the team results may be in conflict with my department's results. But again, these survey items are dynamic. You can see them on the screen. First one is team members value collective success more than individual achievement, which is, again, something we really talk about. Once we review the results here, we go to the next page. We go to page 32, and we take a look at the breakdown of the scores, right? We see how many of each of the 5 scales the team participated in. There's some information about this there, but this is where we break the folks down in the groups again, like we've done in each of the other 4 modules. So we send folks off into small groups. We ask them to work on action items to take the scores where they are on the survey, and how do we move those scores higher? So what are the action plans? What are the behaviors? What are the norms that need to happen to take the team scores from where they are just to take them higher on the scale? So we take them off for about 20, 25 minutes. They come back and talk about this as a large group. Then, before we get to the common distractions, we talk about, it's not in the assessment here, but it's in the leader's guide. We talk about team scoreboard. How does the team track its own results? Which is a very interesting conversation for some teams. So some teams do a really good job of tracking their own results in a variety of areas. Some teams even have a dashboard, work a lot in IT. They have a dashboard for their team. They can measure results. Some folks use Excel files and flowcharts and other things to measure results. But how is the team measuring results? So we want to get that scoreboard discussion. There are some teams we work with that don't have a scoreboard. They just aren't measuring as they go, which is totally crazy to me. But that said, we want to work on that team scoreboard, make sure they're all comfortable with the data, how it gets measured, who's responsible for populating the data, and then we move on to common distractions. What are the distractions of the team for the team to get the team results? And again, these survey items are dynamic. First one on this team is more emphasis on personal goals than team goals, which again, we see quite regularly. So we go through these, break the folks down into smaller groups. We talk about how we can make these scores better and why this happens. Why are these distractions hurting the team? And then we get into action items. Taking action. There's a lot of data in the results module, but this is where we're bringing it all together. So how do we better measure results? What are the action items we need to work on as a group when it comes to the result module? Again, do this in small groups, bring back, talk about it in large groups. At the end of this module, we want to go back to the book. There we go. Pages 216 to 219 in the book. Don't need to do that right now. It's a bit of homework assignment. But then we want to capture the results action items. So what happens now? We finished module 5, Michael. So what happens now? So one of the things that happens now is the assessment itself does give the team feedback on the 3 strongest items based on the survey results. And we want to applaud this. This is what the team's doing well. We want to continue doing this, right? We don't want to slip from these scores. But the second part of this are the 3 items that the team is doing the most poor in or most poorly in. And we want to spend some time here. So we work on a facilitated discussion on which of the 3, and it could be these 3, it could be other 3 action items. Of all the action items in the program, what are the top 3 action items that need to be worked on right now? And once the team makes that decision, then we ask team members to own up and taking responsibility and ownership of those action items. And based on those action items, you come up with steps to achieve that goal. Can't do the goal, you got to do the steps. So how do we get there? So we have this discussion, team members fess up to where they want to play, and then this becomes part of the playbook. So within the playbook itself, you have 3 action items, steps to get there, and those individuals on the team who want to participate on those action item plans. So that wraps up the program, but doesn't wrap up the process. So once the program is done, people go back to work, a few months go by, and we want to come back and reassess how the team is doing. And can we do that, Michael? And you absolutely can do that. The 5 behaviors program, and I'm going to flip to this other assessment, second assessment. The 5 behaviors program has a progress report. It can measure how the team is doing over a course of time. I like going back in 6 to 8 months later, if I can, depending on the calendar, 8 to 10 months. But we want to go back in and reassess the team. Hopefully the team is the same, but folks come and folks go. You can take people in and pull people out of the team, but you want to reassess the team. And the beauty is here is you can get the delta. So once we go through kind of, review, reflect, and review the 5 behaviors model, you actually take a look at the team results. And you see the first results versus the second results. And we measure delta, right? Did the scores improve? Did they go down? Where are the pain points? So we want to spend some time with the team a few months later, revisiting the results of the assessment. But that's not all we take a look at. Obviously, we're going to take a look at the action plans, right? How are things progressing in the action areas? And we want to take a look at the group norms, right? Are the group norms still working? Do they need to be changed? Do they need to be adapted? The assessment does give you some feedback this time, last time, right? And more feedback on the evaluation and the scores and the data from the scores. There are a lot of times we'll go through this process and the team will come up with another set of action items. It could be that the first set of action items have been completed and we need to move on to some new action items. Sometimes the nature of the business changes and we do some more action planning based on the new needs of the business. But we want to go in and revisit and reassess the team. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, come back here. So those are the 5 modules, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to come back and reassess. It's a pretty in-depth process. I really enjoy working with the team when we go down this road. We do rip the Band-Aid off a little bit, as you heard along the way. But I think the team is at a better place. The teams I've worked with and I've followed up with, the team is at a better place by completing this program than they were prior to starting the program. And it puts a lot of issues on the table that probably wouldn't have been discussed. So that's our 5 sessions. You can find these out on our YouTube channel. We're going to take a week off, and then we're going to come back and do some other leadership stuff for you. But that's our session today. This is Mondays with Michael Live. Wherever you're doing this, go grab the book and go do the program. If we can help, give us a shout. Make it a great week.